Hello everyone, and welcome back to Proof Gaming. Now you probably typed in this very generic title in the YouTube search bar because either you wanted to know what's changed, what to look forward to if you've recently received this game, and basically just what's going on. Now, to start off, the base game of Guild Wars 2 is free, and it's great for anybody who wants to try it out, see the gameplay mechanics, all the different stuff it has to offer, and you have a lot of options to do to play through in the base game. But if you wanted that little extra, something with the story, you probably bought Heart of Thorns Expansion. And if you're still on the fence about it, hopefully this video will lead you to your own opinions and help you figure out what you're going to do. So let's start off. Right now I'm in one of the new maps introduced in Heart of Thorns. This is Orc Basin, and in the expansion they introduced 4 new zones. The first zone you actually enter is Verdant Brink. The second zone you enter is, is Orc Basin. The next one is Tangled Depths, and the last one is Dragon's Stand. Verdant Brink, Orc Basin, and Tangled Depths, Orc is very normal maps, but Dragon's Stand is very meta-focused and extremely group-oriented, and you have to have a lot of people in order to complete this map, because it's not a generic map where you just go running around and doing whatever you want. Speaking of meta events, each new map has its own meta event that are typically very popular. There are some times when there aren't a lot of people and it's a little frustrating trying to complete events and you're the only one there, but most of the times you shouldn't have to worry too much because the population's pretty good in the new maps. There are some times, especially during festivals, where they tend to dip. Graphically, this game is not the most beautiful I've seen, but very unique in its art style, in my opinion, and I really enjoy it. Now, I do have a quite rigorous rig, I would say. It did cost me $1,000 to build this, and I built it because I had enough money and I saved up. But even if you play it on lower settings, it still looks fine. I wouldn't say it's completely terrible, and it really shouldn't turn you off of the game. It's not too bad looking if you lower it a little bit, and sometimes when you get into heavy conflicts with a lot of players and a lot of spell effects, you will need to turn it down. Sometimes I also find myself having to turn it down, so don't feel bad if you have to. Now, for Heart of Thorns, there was 16 new chapters of the story introduced into this game, and there has been a little mixed review about the story, and personally I did enjoy it for what it was. I do wish it was a little longer, and I think almost everyone's in universal agreement that it should have been a little longer, but for what they did present us, it was really well made, and I did really enjoy that. And even without the story chapters, a lot of the story is told through these maps and told through these meta events, and it's really cool to start figuring out stuff where you play a chapter and then all of a sudden you go into a map and you're like, oh, hey, this ties into that one story chapter, and it's really fun. I find myself doing that quite a lot. But at first I didn't even realize it, but now that I've started to really focus on things, it's amazing. Speaking towards a little bit of Heart of Thorns and unique content, they did introduce a raid. One raid for now, and this is the Forsaken Thicket. They will be adding raids in the future, or more raids in the future. I'm not too sure when the next one should be out. I think maybe in 1 or 2 months or so. Hoping, because they're really fun. They're very challenging. And this is really what a raid should be. Super challenging, super engaging. It requires a massive group effort. I know in some other games like World of Warcraft and Rift, you can kind of mindlessly go through them, and they can be a little too easy at times, but in this game you really have to focus, and if you don't focus you're gonna die, and if one person dies, basically the whole party dies, which can be a little off-putting to some people, but for me the challenge is really nice. Speaking about endgame content, PvP, they did introduce the league system, or they did not the league system. They did introduce leagues. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 total tiers of leagues. And I've personally found myself getting absorbed into leagues for hours and hours on end, because you're just trying to get to the next tier and to the next division, and then like getting your rewards and all this stuff. There are great rewards at the end that you can go for, and for those who are really into PvP, you can go for legendary, and then you can get these cool things and then keep ranking up your legendary, and it's really fun. There are reward tracks. They did introduce more reward tracks. The Jungle Rabbit rank reward track. They introduced the Orc Basin one, the Tangled Depths, the Verdant Brink, and that's mostly for PvP. They did, right now it's Winter's Day, so they do have a Winter's Day reward track. Get it while you can, people. And so far, the population in PvP is, in my opinion, the best, I would say. I've never really found myself waiting in a queue more than like maybe 2 minutes, at most 2 or 3 minutes. Solo queuing can be a little, I heard at times can be a little challenging. Group queuing, I've also heard there's little struggles too, but you wouldn't expect to get instant queues, but the queues are very fast and you don't spend too much time pulling your hair out. And crafting, they did implement a new crafting profession, or crafting. It's not a profession, it's just a crafting. Yeah, they implemented a new crafting called the Scribe. It can be leveled up to 400, not 500 as of yet. They may update it as time goes on. But right now, it's to 400.
Look at this.
And you may have noticed that I've been gliding. You can only glide in the Heart of Thorns map, and gliding is a part of this new system that they introduced, the Mastery system. The Mastery system is ArenaNet's way of endgame progression, and it's really engaging, and it makes you want to go for those high-end tiers and those high-end slots, and it can, towards the later levels and later mastery ranks, it can get a little monotonous and tiring, but you shouldn't be worrying about them too much. As you play the game and as you earn experience, you'll start unlocking them. There is a mastery rank tier for gliding. It's a lore, which is one of the new races, or races in the Heart of Thorns maps. The Exalted lore, which is another new race, and the Nuoc lore, which is again another new race. And they do have a Forsaken Thicket mastery tier, which I have not yet unlocked because you have to defeat the first boss in the raid. And sadly, I've not yet killed the first boss because it is very challenging. They also have mastery tiers for Central Tyria, Pack Commander, Legendary Crafting, and Fractal Attunement. Legendary Crafting is for those who want to go after legendaries and want to craft them and are really absorbed in crafting. Personally, crafting really isn't my thing, but if it's your thing, go right ahead. Pack Commander is more for like open Central Tyria world stuff, very general things like you can now revive people faster, you have an icon telling people that you know stuff, you get merchants around the world. Fractal Attunement, I'm not too certain. This is more of like just advancements towards your time in fractals. Agony Chandler, you get like cool things when you channel stuff, and that's basically it for the mastery system. Story Journal, they did add the Story Journal. You have your personal story, Scarlet's War, which is kind of a replacement for Season 1 right now. You have Season 2, and if you did not play this, you can, or you weren't in-game to unlock the episodes, you can buy them on the gem store. And then you have the Heart of Thorns story, which you can play through and replay through it, and it's a lot of fun. Even though this game, the base game is free to play, I wouldn't consider it pay to win. A lot of people in the community call it pay to look fabulous or pay to look stylish, and that's truly what it's about. It's very optional. It doesn't give you stat bonuses. It doesn't give you an advantage towards other players. Though you have to buy Season 2 of the Living World to experience the story, but you can also go in with another person who already has it if you just party up with them, and you can experience the story that way. Excuse me, my throat's a little dry. And you can experience the story that way. They have been adding so many skins in this Black Lion Trading Company, also known as the Gem Story, story, and you have limitless options of what you can pick. Or it is limited, but it seems limitless because there's so many things. And that's basically all I have to say for Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns gameplay for 2016. That's all that's really changed. Oh, wait, I've missed one thing. Some of you may remember the old trait system. They completely redid it. You now have this training tab where you can train different categories of skills. Like for Mesmer, you have Signet, Mantra, Manipulation, Glamour, Illusion, and those are your utility skill trees. And then you have your specializations. For Mesmer, you have Domination, Dueling, Chaos, Inspiration, and Illusions. And you can only have 3 specializations at a time. This did remove some builds that weren't meta, but were more like fun to play around with. Like you can have like 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many there were, I've already forgotten. But now you're more limited, but it is a more focused idea of more of like a talent tree system. And I do like the layout of this. There's unique art style, or unique artwork, different icons for all the traits, and overall, much more appealing to the eye. Along with Heart of Thorns, they did introduce elite specializations. Each profession gets an elite spec. For Mesmer, it's Chronomancer. For Guardian, it's Dragon Hunter. Elementalist, it's Tempest. Guardian, or no, not Guardian, Engineer, it's Scrapper, and the list goes on. You can look those up on Google if you would like. And basically, it gives you a new weapon, a new utility category. For Chronomancer, it's Wells, and you get a new specialization trait line. And you can further use this to customize your characters. And that is basically it. Now I think I'm done. Side note, World versus World, kind of dead right now. Heart of the Mists, it's good. I didn't include that in the end game because it's a little iffy right now. But so far, they are going to be updating the game quite constantly. They already have been doing, I wouldn't say major balance changes. They're like doing like little tweaks to certain skills and abilities, which it's good. It's better than nothing, I would say. But the art style of the new maps are graphically impressive, much better than the Central Tyria. New gameplay mechanics, new enemies, new models, and overall a great story for what it was worth. So I would say if you're not certain, maybe do a little bit more research, but I hope this helped you a little bit in deciding what you would like. Base game is free, so if you want to go check it out, I highly suggest it because this game has hooked me. Though I did take a little break, I do have to admit I did take a little break for a little while, but then I got pulled right back in. And I love how this game does that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more content about Guild Wars 2, I do post a lot of Guild Wars 2 content on my channel, so click the subscribe button. A lot of PvP and builds and rants and news. Like the video if you liked it, and leave a comment down below talking about your experience in Guild Wars 2, and if this helped you anyway, if you're going to buy it or something, or if you're still having a little bit of questions, I will get to you as soon as possible. So thank you everyone, and have a great day. Goodbye.